Are we live? I think we're live. Hello there, guys. Welcome back to 100% Chelsea for Transfer Deadline Day Live with 100% Chelsea. With myself, Laurenz, with Louis. Say hello. And the birthday boy himself, Younes HH from his own YouTube channel, of course. How you doing, mate? How you doing, lads?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Thanks for having me on. Hello, everyone. It's going to be a cracker.
Well, let's hope so. Let's see what anything happens today, or whether we're just going to be talking about what has happened over the last few weeks. But yeah, I mean, Here we are. Of course, it is deadline day. There's just under an hour to go of this transfer window in the Premier League. And we're going to talk about how the transfer window has gone so far, what we think of it, about the signings Chelsea have made, about the departures, about the still possible departures. Looking at the season ahead, also looking at possibly what we think the lineup for this Saturday game could be, or throughout the whole season could be. Just giving us, our thoughts. At the end, we will also, answer a few questions. Alex Goldberg, I'm sure you know the guy, should be coming on around 5 p.m. UK time. We'll see whether that happens or not. I hope it does. That should be amazing because, everyone knows he's 100 and something seconds video on everything that are amazing. He's amazing. He should be coming on. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Let's get straight into it. Obviously, the first thing that we did this summer really was get rid of Antonio Conte. Do we really talk about that still? I think we should still probably talk about it. So, obviously, Younes, as you haven't been on the channel for a long while, why don't you go first and share your thoughts on that whole thing, basically?
It was necessary, really. It just wasn't working towards the end. It started off brilliantly, I reckon. It's just towards the end, it got a bit too toxic, and you knew he was just staying for his compensation. You knew that it got to a point where he just wanted his payout, and if not, he was happy to just stick around and see out his contract. And we don't need that, despite him not being backed, etc. Earlier on, I think it's best that he's moved on, we've moved on, and now we've got Sarri, and it's looking a lot more optimistic. The buzz feels good. That bad negative feeling has slowly disappeared, and I respect the guy, and I think he done a wonderful job, and I think that his ideas were brilliant in terms of implementing the back three and changing the whole dynamic, and that first season was good, and the fact that we had our problems and we still ended up winning an FA Cup under him, that's something you got to respect and tell him thank you and see you later. Good luck in whatever you do. But now we look forward. He looks forward, and I think it's good for both. Good for both parties.
I completely agree. Louis, what about yourself? Obviously, I know you've been you were one of the ones that kind of stuck with Conte for a while, even though you said it's probably better for the club if you did end up leaving, but you weren't all too happy about it.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. I think with me, it was the case that I understand why Conte had to go, but I wish it could have all been handled a lot better by both Conte and the board. And I think as great as the transfer window has been towards the end, it still isn't perfect because of the way the board handled it at the start. Conte should have been done after the cup final. We took a month and a half to get rid of him. If we brought Sarri in earlier, we could have had a lot more players in the transfer window as well. So for me, there's a lot of what-ifs with this transfer window. It's good, but it could have been better.
Oh, for sure. I completely agree. I think we can all agree that it took us way too long to get rid of Antonio Conte, if you will, even though that might sound a bit harsh, but we just left it way too long. Obviously, there was plenty of issues with Sarri, with the Laurenz between us and Napoli and getting things done and, not being willing to pay 8 million, but ending up probably paying between 4 and 5 million, even though, his representative said nothing was paid. Don't really believe that, in all honesty. Excuse me. But, whether that was at the end of the day the right option or not is right now basically irrelevant. But let's get to more happy news than sacking Conte. Let's get to Maurizio Sarri, because I know I myself am very excited about it. I'm very much looking forward to the season. I'm very much looking forward to the seasons ahead. Hopefully he stays for a little while. Hopefully, and when he does leave, it will be on good terms and not
Conte terms,
basically. What have you two? Let's go with Louis first this time. What do you think about Sarri? Are you looking forward to it? Are you a bit worried? What's your feelings about the season and obviously Sarri as a manager of Chelsea in general, basically?
I would say worried in terms of long term for our club, but I think Sarri will succeed regardless. I think it will take time. He has said he needs about 3 months to develop this side to the level it should be at. And I think we can all agree this is going to be a season of transition and we're not really expecting much, right?
Yeah, agreed.
But the problem with that is that we can't afford for a season of transition. We can't afford another season out of the top 4. One has been bad enough. If we spend another season out of the top 4, Hazard could go for even less money, especially if he hasn't re-signed. And N'Golo Kante seems more or less settled at Chelsea, but if he spends another year out the top 4, who's to stop a club like PSG just taking a pop and testing the waters? That's what worries me. We are in a stage of transition, and it's fully understandable, but we can't afford to be.
I completely agree. At the same time, though, I actually feel confident that we will get top 4. I can't really explain why. I just think that, Sarri said 3 months at Napoli. It took him about 7 games to properly get things going. So about 2 months.
Yeah.
And I think that will be just after the international. No, it will be just before the second international break. So it's, start of October. That will be when we get things going. We're talking 7 league games. And if we get things going by then, yes, we might be too far off the likes of City and Liverpool to win the title. But I think we're well within a shot of still making top 4. And I think we're more than capable of that.
I think we're within a shot. I'll level with you. It's because of how competitive the top 6 is and the quality all round. I think it's 100% sure we're not going to make top 4, but I'm not confident about it. Mainly because this is a very competitive league, and I think it's the most competitive it's ever been. All of the top 6 look very strong.
Yeah, they do. Younes, what about you? Looking forward to it?
I am. I'm really looking forward to it. I just think it's a different direction. We're not used to this. It's actually going to be refreshing. We haven't had this since Ancelotti. And I think even then Ancelotti is still a little bit cautious in terms of, he's a very attacking manager, but he can still think about defense and whatnot. Sarri is very, very attacking minded, and it's sort of like the defense comes last with Sarri, if you know what I mean. He's more about going up and scoring goals rather than actually focusing on the back line. But he's not going to ignore the back line. However, I'm just excited for the style, the freedom that he's going to give some of these players, like Eden Hazard. I'm just, I can't wait to see how it all works out. Yes, it's not going to be straight away. And I stress that to people watching. We sometimes have this way of thinking that it can just happen with a click, and all of a sudden everything's better. No, it's going to take time. I think we are going to see a few negative results in terms of the first maybe 5 to 10 games. And after that, I'm expecting us to fully go at it and really show what Sarri ball can do. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really happy.
I completely agree. I think it's also something to look at, because even though Sarri's style isn't focusing on defense and it's only focusing on going forward, he still conceded the second least amount of goals in the Serie A last season behind Juve.
Yeah.
And he's even, I have to be fair, I haven't checked this, but I read this on a report that was, published by a very reliable newspaper. So I'm just sticking by that. Apparently, he's also conceded the second least amount of goals in the Serie A when he got promoted with Empoli.
Oh, so, okay.
Clearly, his defending is not too bad, even though, against City wasn't amazing. But still, against City, we only conceded 2. That was more down to them than us defending well, in all honesty. But when things click, things are very balanced, but still attacking. Because Conte always used this word balance. Mourinho used the word balance a lot. But that balance is like pragmatic and defensive balance. And Sarri's balance is still balance, but attacking balance. And I feel like there's a lot of positive things to look forward to. Like you said, the likes of Hazard. Will Hazard sign a new deal? I think that will eventually come down. Who are we going to sign over the next, today and the next 2 transfer windows? Will he sign a new deal? I think there is a good chance, depending on how things go, that Hazard will sign a new deal come January, February time. Because usually 18 months before your deal runs out is when you're offered a new deal. That's when it usually happens. So I don't think the chances are too small of Hazard extending his contract, especially he's now 27. Say we basically make him see out the contract rather than selling him, unlike Courtois today or yesterday. He will be 29. Would really anyone big go for him at 29? Okay, if he's a free agent, maybe. But he will still demand big wages and stuff. So I think there's chances of Hazard staying with us long term aren't that small, actually.
Yeah, that's true. Especially, and I don't know if you read today, I hate to mention his name, but Thibaut Courtois spoke and said that he hopes that the time will come when Hazard will join him in Madrid. And I'm thinking, no, get lost, you twat.
Yes.
Thibaut.
I never heard of him.
Fair play. Yeah. So in that case, that guy who's gone. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't think it'll happen. You're right. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen this summer, and it hasn't. So I think we're safe.
I do agree. The only thing that, I mean, let's just touch upon this because obviously it is deadline day in England today. What do you actually think of this? The fact that the Premier League deadline day is today, while all the other leagues in the world, basically their deadline day is in like 3 weeks' time. Because my personal thoughts on it, I'm like, if everyone, at least the top 5 leagues in Europe, did that, great. I think it's perfect. But with us being the only league doing that, I think it's stupid.
We're trying to be Mavericks and it's not working.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's good for us, as you said, though, if everyone was on the same page. But now that, it's good that you sort out your business before the season starts. That way everyone's settled. But the fact that we can still let go of players and we can't bring anyone in is a bit worrying. But
that's exactly my point. Because imagine PSG come in with like a £1 billion, I don't know, pound offer for Eden Hazard. Are we really going to turn that down even if we can't sign a replacement? No, we're not going to turn that down. So it just doesn't make any sense. And I think that is, the fact that it's silly and stupid, in my opinion, is made worse by the fact that with the World Cup, the players return to training so late. So if you look at someone like Batshuayi, for Sarri to have a look at him, deciding does he want to keep him or do we sign someone else, he basically had 2 or 3 days in training with him after he returned from the World Cup. So the logic behind that makes no sense. I mean, it's a whole different topic as to why the Premier League can't start 1 or 2 weeks later, because all the other leagues start later, except the Ligue 1 for some reason.
Yeah.
But Italy, Spain start a week later than we. Of course, the Bundesliga starts later, but they have 4 match days less. But Spain and Italy start later as well, and they do have a winter break, unlike us. So there's no logic behind us starting earlier than they do. It makes no sense. Like, we could have really done with a week or 2 more. Then the transfer window would have been a week or 2 longer. And the managers would have just had more time to train, because it's not just about quality. It's also about a fitness thing, because players need rest in the summer, especially after the World Cup. And if they don't get enough rest, they're more injury prone. And if they do get enough rest but don't get enough training, they're also more injury prone. So at the end of the day, you're just harming players and the quality of the league. So I don't really see the point in what Sky and BT are doing here.
No, you're right. As you said, though, it is TV. I think it is TV. It's the fact that our media are so soaked up in getting everything their way in this country. It's not like any other country. Any other country will just follow the league and do what they do and just go along with it. But with us, media runs the show. And, Premier League, the FA, whoever it may be, will make a decision only if the TV companies approve. And if the TV companies turn around and say, no, we want it this way, they'll go, okay, then we'll bend over backwards to do it your way. That's just how it is. It's annoying. It's annoying.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, we went a bit off topic, unless, Lewis, you want to say something to it as well before we go back.
I was checking the questions.
Fair. So, obviously,
just to let you know, really quickly, if something happens and I've seen it, I'll do like a bell sort of sound or
just
something.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, or something, and I'll let you know what's going on.
Dilly dong.
Or dilly ding dilly dong, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, but at the moment, 40 minutes to go, nothing really major.
Yeah.
I heard people talking about Zouma going on loan to Everton.
Yes, that looks like it's actually happening. Which means Mourinho's suffering even more.
Yeah, and Godinez turned them down as well, apparently, which why would he ever leave the Cup? But yeah, so actually coming back to speaking about our transfers, we obviously spoke about Sarri, we gave our opinions. I mean, I've made videos, Louis has spoken in videos about it, I think Lewis has spoken in videos about it as well. The way Sarri plays, it is a 4-3-3. If you've watched the preseason games or the Community Shield, you know what's happening, even though it's nowhere near as good as it will be. Trust me, it will be good. I strongly believe in that. It is a 4-3-3. We do have, 3-man midfield of one sitting deeper than the other 2, but he's not a number 6. He's like a deep line playmaker. So that's why Conte isn't playing in that deep role. That's why Jorginho is playing there in that regista role, to dictate play and dictate the pace of the game, similar to how Pirlo did it at Juventus in his, latter stages of his career, rather than actually being the main guy defending. And then you have someone like Conte, or in Napoli's case, Ellen next to him to do the running, to be the box-to-box guy, and to just be the guy that's everywhere. And I mean, there's no position better suited for N'Golo Kante than being everywhere, is there? So,
yeah.
And then you obviously have that third midfielder spot, which let's see who fills that. Could be Kovacic, who we obviously learned that today, and we will be speaking about. It could be Barkley, could be Loftus-Cheek. We'll have to wait and see. Could be Fabregas in theory. Let's wait and see. But the first signing that we did make this summer, the first player signing, was Jorginho, and obviously took him away basically from Man City's and Pep Guardiola noses, who basically had things agreed, and then he was like, "Nah, I'd rather go Chelsea," and completely agree, completely understand. I mean, obviously it had a lot to do with Mauricio Sarri. It had, I'm assuming, also to do with London versus Manchester, because there is never something to disregard when it comes to transfers within England. Are you in London? Are you not? That always makes a difference depending on what kind of lifestyle the player that you're chasing lives. Always makes a difference. And I mean, we got him under his noses. The reported fee that we apparently signed him for was, I think, £57.5 million, so around 65 million euros. And I mean, what do you make of him? Obviously, he's played in. Did he play in? Yeah, he played in all of the preseason games. So if you watched all of them, you two guys, or the ones you did watch, what did you make of Jorginho so far? Against City, wasn't that great. When the other ones, I was actually quite impressed.
Who's going first?
Lewis, you want to go first?
All right, I think bringing in Jorginho was perfect in order to bring Sarri's system in as quickly as possible. And it was kind of why I was kind of leaning towards us signing Higuain as well, because it'll bring in the system at a much quicker rate. And Jorginho has shown exactly why he's vital in that role. He can always find space, and he always finds the right pass. And the thing about him is he makes it look simple. And if you're really world-class in that position, you've got to be able to make it look easy, and he always does it. So let's wait for him to adapt to the Premier League as well, and he could turn out to even be better than what we've already seen of him. But as of right now, nothing to complain about, really.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm truly hoping that he will get even better. And I think a lot has also to do with him being suited or used to what Sarri wants, and the other ones not. I think that was the main reason why he didn't look good against City. It's not like he was necessarily bad. I'm not saying he was great, but I'm not saying he was as bad as he maybe looked. I think it was the others that didn't do what they were meant to do, and that's what made Jorginho look worse than he was, or than he would have been otherwise. City. Well, yeah, of course, because it is the best team in the country by a mile. Yeah, in all honesty. But Younes, any thoughts on Jorginho?
I think he's a great addition. The fact that he's going to complement Kante so well, and give Kante that little bit of breathing space, because last season it was all him. And we thought Bakayoko might be that guy to help complement Kante and give him the space, but instead he just gave everything away.
How wrong we were.
And I think Jorginho, who understands Sarri, who understands what Sarri's asking for, who's played under him before, with his passing ability, his box-to-box ability, I think is, as I said, with time. But Jorginho, Kante, and now Kovacic involved as well. We're going to get to that, but them three, that's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, but not the big one. More like one of the ones where you share the price with someone else. It's good. It's not quite incredible. It's not quite signing out on a Modric and Pogba. No.
But even then, I'm really happy with those three. Really happy with those three.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jorginho was a vital player to us. I think, because there's not many like him out there, so that's why it was crucial if we wanted to implement Sarri's system as quickly as possible to get that main, maybe not the main guy in the sense of attacking, but in the main guy of making everything tick. And also just in general to have one player that knows Sarri, and then that it's not just Sarri bringing his idea across, but also the player on the pitch helping the players around him getting used to things. I think that is a crucial point in making things work quicker than they would have done otherwise. Just whoever wants to say something.
No, you're right. I think it's important that we got a player in who, as I said, has been there and done it, understands what Sarri's asking for, because Sarri had, 2 weeks to get up and running? Nowhere near enough time for him to fully implement what he wants to do in this team. So it's good that he's got a player in who knows exactly what's going on. And that player can help the whole midfield, even in terms of Kante and whoever's going to be playing alongside, can help get that team a little bit more fast in terms of how to understand what Sarri actually wants. So I think it was very important for us to get a proper Sarri signing, and Jorginho was a...
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I think there's I'm not sure how I want to word it, but there's, Alex Goldberg, who again hopefully will be coming on, made a perfect example of it after the Community Shield, saying we're basically the station wagon here that we were after Conte, and we're trying to be a Ferrari, and Man City are already the Ferrari, and it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take work. It's gonna take new signings like Jorginho to get us from being a station wagon into a Ferrari. And, the likes of Jorginho are extremely important to that. And, of course, obviously coming on to the next signing that was officially confirmed. Which one was first confirmed? It was Kovacic, wasn't it? Unveiled it was Kepa first, but announced it was...
Kepa first. Right. Kovacic confirmed first, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Kepa was first, yeah.
Let's keep Kepa for last because he's obviously the record signing of the club and the most expensive goalkeeper of all time. So let's speak about Kovacic first. Of course, I mean, he's 24 years old. He's Croatian, born in Austria, if you didn't know. We signed him from Real Madrid, we loaned him out from Real Madrid, where he joined, who he joined in 2015 from Inter Milan. We loaned him out. It's still a question whether he has an option. We have an option to buy him at the end of the season or not. More reliable resources now are saying we don't. Yesterday night they all said we do. Nothing official was confirmed. A lot of people are saying, for James, when they loaned him out to Bayern Munich, they made it official that they do have an option to buy him, and they didn't say anything like that for us. But you have to understand that it might be down to terms of negotiations, because sometimes transfer fees are made official, sometimes they're undisclosed. So, and it's similar for do we have an option to buy him or not? It might be different. Nini, I watched this video on it, and he made a good point saying, there are different circumstances that play into having an option to buy a player. Sometimes it's related to how many games he plays, and once he plays a certain number of games, you basically have to. Then it's not an option anymore. Then you're basically forced to. And maybe in that sense it could be a good thing, because we can play him as much as we want, and then at the end of the season still make the decision. But on the other hand, in my opinion, it's also the better he plays, the more his price will go up, and the better he plays, the more likely Madrid will want to keep him. The more likely Madrid will be to want to keep him, especially with Luka Modric obviously being 33 years of age already, being 34 next summer, possibly leaving, just not being that good anymore, because he's of course getting on and playing in a position that requires a lot of running, and the older you get, the less good you are at that, in all honesty. So of course they do have Isco, they do have Asensio, but they don't really play in the same positions as Modric does, although obviously let's see what their new manager Lopetegui does with them. But that's why I'm kind of worried about it, because Modric is getting on, and because I would never have expected us to pay as much as we did for Kepa, which we're going to talk about, but that only came because we loaned out Kovacic. So in the sense, is Kovacic, we probably were willing to pay 35-40 million for him. We didn't have to pay that. Oh no, it was more like we wanted to buy Vecino from Inter, who probably would have cost us around 35 million. We didn't sign him, we loaned out Kovacic instead. So now we had the 35 we got for Courtois, plus the 35 we didn't spend on Vecino, and just spent it all on Kepa, if you will. So I don't think it will be a constant scenario of us spending so big on a player. Might have won a window like with Morata last year, and now with Kepa, but I don't think that's going to be a constant thing that happens multiple times every transfer window. So
I just enjoyed the feeling of spending money again.
Ruining football.
Ruining football, and we don't care.
Exactly. So I mean, what do you think of Kovacic? I mean, I'm just gonna give my opinion on where I think he should play and will play and stuff later. Let's just, Younes, what do you make of the whole thing?
I think it was important that we got a midfielder in that can link with the forwards, right, and add that little bit of creativity, because we know that Kante is going to be doing what he always does, and that's just intercept everything. Looking at Jorginho, who can pick out a pass, but also will have defensive duties. And we do need a midfielder that's going to help complement Eden Hazard, help complement whoever's going to be on that right-hand side, and to try and supply to whoever's going to be up front. And yeah, Kovacic is a great addition. Now, yes, I wish that we had an option, but to be fair, it's not the end of the world. Say your point regarding Modric is very valid. I think next summer, if Modric does go on a little bit and he can't keep up and he does get a bit old, then yes, they're probably going to want to take him back. But if not, then I think we are definitely first in to try and put a bid in and to try and keep him at the club. So if not, then we will have to rely on someone like Loftus-Cheek or Barkley, and hopefully they have time to develop this year. But if not, then we can always put a bid in. I think it's just a good addition. It doesn't cost us anything, and it's a great addition. So I'm happy.
I agree on that, and it's like, you know, the more he plays, the better he does, the more happy he will feel, and the more inclined he will be to join us, whether he does have that option, whether we do have that option to buy him or not. But of course, that only works to an extent. You know, I'm sure Hazard wanted to join Madrid this summer. He wasn't being a dick about it like Courtois and just accepted that it wasn't happening and is now getting on with it. And even according to Giroud, trying to get Fekir to join us. See, that's what I'm on about. See, I mean, we're going to talk about Courtois, of course, but you know, that's what I want to see. Hazard actually wants to leave, doesn't know whether he will leave or not, but still talks to Fekir about coming to Chelsea. I mean, what guy?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the difference between someone who cared about the badge and someone who didn't.
Exactly. Because, you know, everyone can understand if they say, okay, they want to make that next step in their career, as much as we might not like to hear that we're not on the level of Real Madrid. We're not. But giving us that bullshit about it, we're going to speak about it later. Lewis, give us your thoughts on Kovacic.
When it comes to Kovacic, I think it's a great transfer in terms of boosting our midfield. In terms of going forward, it'll be very similar to Kante. He'll push the ball forward. He's a great dribbler. He's great holding onto the ball. He's got a great pass on him. But where I'm a little bit wary about it is that we won't really have any main starter in our midfield that can have a pop at goal. And when it comes to the final third, no one in our midfield you can point out as someone who is going to test the goalkeeper from range. And people who are talking about Sarri's system always said that the third midfielder in Sarri's system needs to be someone who's got more of an attacking threat on them. And my issue is that Kovacic hasn't got that. He's only scored, the max amount of goals he's scored in one season was, I think, 5. He's not known for scoring regularly. Neither is Kante, neither is Fabregas. Barkley was known a bit for it at Everton, didn't show it. Loftus-Cheek hasn't shown it yet. Drinkwater and Bakayoko haven't got the quality. So my only main worry is that when it comes to final third, we might not be as direct as we should be, and that might impact us when it comes to getting the ball forward to the wingers and trying to threaten the goal. But that's all my worry is.
I completely agree. Just to jump in with some minor bit of news, Valencia have apparently made a €3 million loan offer for Michy Batshuayi, and the players apparently asked to leave on loan, and apparently Valencia optimistic to get it done. If that is the case, we're signing someone, because I don't think we're starting the season with Morata, Giroud and Abraham.
We've got if that's the case, but there's half an hour left.
God.
Well, exactly, but you know, if you know, just because Valencia make an offer and Batshuayi wants to leave doesn't mean we're going to accept it. But if we do accept it, I still expect us to sign someone, as unlikely as it does look right now. Because obviously, you don't have to announce it by 5 p.m. You just have to get the paperwork done, and you can announce it like an hour later or something.
So who do you expect us to sign then?
Well, if a striker goes, a striker, so probably Fekir, in all honesty.
I heard he wants Champions League football.
Well, we can get that next season, because Champions League football, I mean, how far are they going to get with Lyon? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
No, if you're going to sign for a club, you've got to look long-term, and long-term reality is we will make it back there. We have quality in the squad. We will end up in the Champions League again, I think. You know, you have players like Hazard next to you and Kante, and it shouldn't be much of an issue. But I don't know, unless there's something going on right now where we don't know and the club hasn't leaked anything, I can't see it happening in half an hour.
I completely agree.
We keep bats. Have to keep him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if he can't leave unless we sign someone. But just to give my thoughts on the whole Kovacic position thing, that's why I have my doubts, because to me, the player he is, whenever I've seen him, he's he's not a 6, he's not an 8, he's whatever that is in between. Is it a 5? Do they have a number definition for it? He's basically what Kante plays right now. That is, in my opinion, what Kovacic's perfect position is, because he's not a goal scorer, but he can dribble and he can tackle. That is basically what you need in that position, and he can pass. That's all those 3 things that you need in that position. It's not the inch-perfect passing that someone like Jorginho has in that register role, and it's not the goal-scoring threat that someone like, you know, that in the Hamsik role at Napoli anyway, that he had there. So that's why I'm like, what? Because we certainly didn't get Kovacic to play backup to Kante. That wouldn't make any sense.
No.
I mean, yes, okay, of course it is free and stuff because it's a loan, but you might as well have just put whoever there. Not really needed someone to get from Madrid, really. So I'm like, that's why I'm not sure. But of course, there's always a possibility that Sarri might change things slightly from how he did things at Napoli. Remember, the Serie A is not the Premier League. Guardiola isn't doing everything exactly the same as he did in Spain and as he did in Germany. He's doing things slightly different, and I have no doubt that Maurizio Sarri can do similar things. I'm sure he wants to do it similar to Napoli, but depending on the players he has, depending on the opposition and the league as a whole, he might change things slightly, and that's why he sees Kovacic suited to that role. But if we're doing things like Napoli, I'm not really sure Kovacic is perfectly suited for that Hamsik role. I feel like other players would be better suited for that.
You trying to find more defensive cover.
Huh?
Might be trying to find more defensive cover. Because that's what Kovacic would offer with Kante, more defensive cover. And
we're not playing in midfield too, though, are we? So it's like everyone, you know what I mean? So it's like it's the Regista in behind, and then there's Kante to the right in front of him, and then there's another one left even more in front of them. So it's like,
you think maybe we're trying to play Kovacic and Kante together?
Yeah, we must.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
that'd probably be where the extra defensive cover would come from. I mean, you look at the City game, you look at games like that. Our defense has been caught sleeping a good couple of times. I think defensive cover could be something that could actually suit us in the long term until we fully develop Sarri's system, and then we can try and focus on pushing forward a bit more.
Oh no, I agree with that, but I think the main issue in pre-season has been creating big chances and scoring chances. And
I felt like, especially even in the Arsenal game, like as an example, we were creating chances. Just
but Arsenal are dog shit. Arsenal can't defend to save their lives. Unai Emery teams can't defend.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Didn't forget it was Arsenal.
And I mean, as good as he was against us, they had a 19-year-old in CDM, and I'm not slating him; he's a good player actually, but he's still 19. So,
he was all right, yeah, but yeah, he's 19. You're right.
He was good, and then you had Bellerin, who is all of a sudden slow out of nowhere. I mean, no idea.
He's a glorified winner.
With Kylo Ren reject.
Yeah, he should probably have just went to the Olympics rather than the Premier League. But probably would have done better. Probably would have finished higher than 6th. Anyway, so I mean, you make a point against Arsenal, but Arsenal are also in pre-season then, and as soon as we got to a serious game against, or somewhat serious game against City, we basically didn't create a single real chance in the whole game until the 88th minute. So I feel like going forward, because Sarri thinks that way as well, is where we need more of a change than we need defensively, although it of course also has to do with the system still needing to click, and that will take a little bit of time. But obviously we're speaking about that. We'll speak about Kepa in just a second, but who do you think should take that spot? Because for me, not even just should, but I'm still hoping for Ruben Loftus-Cheek to start in that team, because I think Barkley is extremely overhyped. A lot of people tell me about Ruben Loftus-Cheek being overhyped. I realise that. I just disagree with that. I'm not saying Barkley's a bad player. I feel like Barkley, he just doesn't have the click in his head to be quick enough if he's productive with it, if you get my point. Yeah. Because he plays well, he uses his body well, he gets rid of the ball quick enough, but not in the positions that are important to get rid of the ball quick enough. Like as in forward, he always squares it and passes it sideways and stuff. And I feel like Ruben, he's so good in tight spaces. Ruben never loses the ball. You can question Ruben's
timing.
Not just timing, but more like effort when off the ball. On the ball, Ruben, I think, is so much better than Barkley, so much more of a complete footballer.
I don't know.
To me, it has to be between Loftus-Cheek and Kovacic to start there. I don't think Barkley should have a shout. He will start on Saturday, but I think long-term he shouldn't.
I don't know. Looking at the Lyon game, like just as an example, it being his last game, if you take a look at that, that's the game for him to make an impression. I felt every time he was on the ball, he was good until it came to the final pass or the final move. And then I felt he just had a couple too many seconds on him, and then the moment was gone. And the Premier League, you're not going to get given that sort of time that you're going to get given in a friendly. And if you're overthinking in a friendly, then that's kind of worrying.
I don't necessarily agree that he was overthinking, because he had that 1-2 with Willian early on, then he just...
Early on, but then
that was decent.
Those plays outside the box where you just hold on to the ball for a good 5 or 10 seconds. And
okay, but I get your criticism of that, but Barkley does the exact same thing, except that he's worse in other things. It's not like Barkley does that any better.
Which is fair, which is why if I had to pick one, I'd go for Kovacic. I did say you'd lose the eye for goal, but you'd have the defensive cover to make up for it.
I just don't think that position would make such a huge difference defensively.
No,
I should have brought in Sarri earlier. We wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, that's one of the issues. The fact that we took so long to get this, wrapped up. But
why this transfer window can never be perfect.
Exactly. We got to be honest though, in the fact that we've brought Jorginho in. We know we have Kante, and we've brought Kovacic on loan that we know is not just going to sit on the bench. If not, we wouldn't have bothered getting him to the club in the first place. So I think it's clear that midfield three is going to be them.
Yeah. I also don't think Kovacic would have joined us if he knew it wasn't guaranteed that he was starting, because why would you leave Madrid where he's not playing to go to Chelsea where he might not play?
Exactly. However, I feel that Loftus-Cheek and Barkley can both... they can both learn. They will have playing time. We are involved in 4 competitions. They are going to play, right? They are going to be rotated. They are going to come on at times. The issue with Barkley, I think, is just the amount of time he took to recover from what he had, that injury he had. I think has prolonged his real ability. If you know what I mean. Sure. He's getting there. I feel maybe a couple of months down the line, I think he'll be back to where he was pre his injury. As for Loftus-Cheek, I think it's a matter of experience. It's a matter of just being on the pitch more and being a bit more active.
Exactly, because Ruben Loftus-Cheek is 2 years younger than Barkley and has only really had 1 season of professional football in his career. But we're still debating which one of them should play. So isn't that obvious who should play then? If only one has only had 1 professional career season and he's already basically as good, if not better.
If it was down to me, I would be picking Loftus-Cheek. If it was down to me out of the 2, I'd be picking Loftus-Cheek. I reckon I just see more in him than I do in Barkley.
Yeah.
As I said, yes, the injury might have held him back, but it's held him back. We can't change that. So I would feel Loftus-Cheek is the one that can take it further.
To be fair to him, he's looked like in pre-season he was one of the ones that looked the fittest to me, and the ones that looked like he could go full on for the longest in every pre-season game so far. So fair play to him. He seems like he must have worked pretty hard on himself over the summer, and when he was out injured and stuff. So fair play to him on that. But obviously now it is about not arguably, it's the record signing in history of our club. It's the most expensive goalkeeper of all time. He's only 23 years of age though, and it's Kepa Arrizabalaga. I watched the video by Chelsea. I can pronounce it now.
I'm not even bothering with that. His name's Kepa to me, and that's it.
Not Big Kev or Keith.
Nah. I'll just call him Kev. Yeah.
But anyway, you guys know who I'm on about, and of course, we officially announced him last night, actually, which took me a bit by surprise. And I was sat here doing a stream at 11:30 Austrian time, like, all right, what's happening? So, of course, we did end up signing him for. Well, I don't know where these people got this £71 million from, because if you convert 80 million euros, which was his buyout clause, to pounds, it's 72 million pounds. So not really sure where people got this 71.6 point number from. Anyway, so his buyout clause was 80 million euros. We triggered that, and we ended up signing him on that. What's the most incredible thing about this, in my opinion, rather than the fee that we signed him for, is that he signed a 7-year deal. That is mental. I've never heard of a 7-year deal in my life.
Yeah.
He's 30.
Yeah, we signed him till he's 30.
He's in for the long run.
Oh yeah, but he's only going to get one year deals after that, though.
Oh yeah,
think about it like that.
Except Giroud, because we signed him at 31 and gave him an 18-year contract, because that makes sense. Because Giroud is
imagine the guy to break
18 months.
Lampard, it was Giroud.
Yeah, you're Lampard, you're John Terry. Can I have a 2-year deal, please? Nah, mate.
Oh.
Giroud, yeah, go on then.
That's right.
George is probably fuming hearing that.
Yeah. John Terry was clearly fuming that we signed a new goalkeeper. Thought it was coming in, but very funny Instagram story picture by Mr. John Terry. Love the guy. Still miss it.
That was funny. Was funny.
Yeah. But
Kepa is a top goalkeeper, I reckon. I saw his first interview, right? And for those that haven't as well, go onto the app. You'll see it on the app. It's on the fifth stand. But I don't know. I'm just getting this vibe from him that he's really ambitious, really hungry, up for it. He looks charismatic in terms of his personality, someone that will get along with everyone. And that's what he did say anyway. He did say, I hope I'll be remembered when I do leave the club at some point, that I'll be known for getting on with everyone and being, a club legend.
Sorry, mate.
He's really ambitious.
Two things. Yeah. First of all, Jay Da Silva was loaned out to Bristol City. I'm pretty sure it is. Pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Not Rovers. And Nizla Kinsella on Twitter just said that Charlie Musonda is not leaving Chelsea today on loan or permanently, but he will join a European club in the coming weeks. Because obviously, Musonda wasn't even involved on Tuesday against Lyon, so obviously Sarri has no use for him. But go on.
Yeah, no, thanks for the update. Anyway, I just feel that it's a blessing in disguise. People were worried to see Thibaut Courtois go. Some people were saying, no, we've got to keep him at all costs. And I feel that it's worked in our favour. I think we're going to get some very good things from this new keeper, from Kepa. And I can't wait for him to get started. I think, 7 years shows that the club is looking long-term. He's accepted that and he's happy with that, shows his long-term ambition and the dedication to the club. And that's what we've needed. We've needed someone that's going to say, I'm here for the long run. I'm at your service. I'm going to give my all. And he has the ability. He's already been called up to Spain. Real Madrid wanted him at one point, but Zidane said no because he wanted to keep Navas. It's all positive. It's all positive. So, let's run with it. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah. What about yourself, Lewis?
He's better than Courtois.
Definitely.
Better than who?
Oh, yeah. Forgot about him.
Who's that?
Has anyone figured out a ship name of a snake and a giraffe, and can we just call him that from now on?
Yeah, people on Reddit have already merged a pair of them. I can put a couple pictures on the group chat after this. Don't worry about that.
With a snake going around a giraffe's neck and kissing it. Yeah.
Yeah. How baby's made. How Courtois
really
made.
Bad out of context.
Yeah. No, but generally, what do you think overall, price-wise and obviously ability-wise and stuff, if you know anything about him, read anything about him, Lewis?
When it comes to price-wise, it's going to be expensive, and our hand was kind of forced with Courtois anyway, but it makes sense. It makes sense. He's 23 years old. He's got potential through the roof. I've heard a lot of people linking him to being the next De Gea or something. Now, I know that's very far-fetched, but if people are saying he has the potential to reach that and he's 23 years old, then I'm willing to give him a chance. Apparently, he's very good on the ball, which is what you're going to need in a Sarri system, and it's what Courtois didn't have. He's been likened to De Gea because of his athleticism and his reaction time when it comes to saves.
Yeah.
Him having a 7-year contract, will have plenty of time to develop that. And let's say in the next 2 or 3 years, could be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. I'll put emphasis on the word could, but he could. And that's what we're hoping for.
I completely agree. I think there's a lot of things to consider in this. Of course, it is frustrating when you hear that in January you could have gotten him for 20 million and now he costs you 80 million in euros. That is, of course, that is a bit frustrating. But at the end of the day, that's football. I mean, he was about to join Madrid and then it didn't happen. And I mean, his quote in his press conference that happened just a little bit ago, he said, in January, I was coming to the end of my contract. There was a number of negotiations, but I decided to stay at Athletic. Not sure that's really true, but let's go with it. Things changed and Chelsea bet on me, and I'm happy to start this. How the rumor went is basically, Florentino Perez, the president of Real Madrid, wanted him. Things were actually being sorted, and then Zidane said, "No, let's not do that. Let's keep the harmony in our dressing room. Let's not get a new keeper in January," which I think is a fair enough decision to not get a new keeper in January when the other keeper has won you the last 2 Champions Leagues. I think as much as Navas isn't the greatest keeper of all time, he still won them 3 Champions Leagues in a row. Like, not he won it for them, but he was in goal for all of those 3. So yeah, he's not De Gea, he's not Neuer, but he can't be dog shit. Let's be honest.
Dilly ding, dilly dong.
All right, go on. Now I'm excited.
Right, apparently, no, don't be. Nothing. Well, you can be if you want. Nothing agreed between Everton and Chelsea for Zouma right now. So still 10 minutes to go, and nothing's actually agreed between Everton and us. So
well,
that's it.
But yeah, I mean, it is frustrating, and then that is, of course, where you can start criticizing the board for leaving things so late, because the way things are said is that we told Courtois that he could leave a little while back, and then we just didn't move quick enough, and that we basically just were all right. What we do now when Elisa went to Liverpool. Although, according to reports, we didn't even match their bid. So I'm like, what do you expect then? Like, so as much as I'm happy with him as a signing, the fact that we left it so late and he only has 2 days of training before the first Premier League game, which I assume he will start. And obviously his price would have been the same in June as it is now, of course. But, did these things have to take this long? No. But overall, I'm happy with him, and I don't really care about the price. If it doesn't work out, we will all talk about the price, as we do with Morata. If it does work out, over 7 years, no one will give the slightest bit of fucks about his price. No one will care. Because in 7 years' time, I'm telling you, players will go for £1 billion. Like, they will. Maybe not £1 billion.
That's going to be it's heading there. No, it's definitely heading there. They'll get to a point, I think, where the first £1 billion signing will happen.
Probably
at some point. Maybe in 10 years. Maybe less. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. So it is crazy and it does look huge. But at the same time, I said this in my, obviously, the little stream I did as soon as the Kepa thing was officially announced. What I want to say is, if you look at Alisson, he's 25 years old, about to turn 26. Kepa is 23 years old, about to turn 24. 2 years ago is when Alisson just signed for Roma from Brazil. At where Kepa is right now, Alisson had never even played in Europe. In his first season at Roma, he was number 2 to Wojciech Szczesny. And only last season did Alisson become the number 1 at Roma and play every week. Fair enough, he had a very good season. I'm not taking it away from them, and I still think he's a very good goalkeeper. But in his development, Kepa has already played for 2 full seasons for Athletic Bilbao as their starting goalkeeper. Yes, they had a poor season last year, but people also want to check Butland, and he got relegated. So don't really think you can say, it's irrelevant for Butland, but it's something to hold against Kepa. I think that's a bit silly. He had the most completed long-range passes in La Liga. He had the most saves in La Liga, I think. He had the second most saves from inside the box in La Liga. Some crazy stats. And the only thing that you can apparently criticize about him, whenever I've watched him, I never really noticed it. Apparently his ability to command this box and to come for crosses isn't the best. But in my opinion, that is something that can easily be worked on. I mean, he's 23 years old, not 33. So if that is still a weakness, that might not be a weakness anymore in a year's time or something. So that's what you train for every day in football, like at the end of the day. And also a good thing is that he doesn't seem to get flustered by any big occasion, whether he was playing against Barcelona and Real Madrid or whether he was playing a derby in the country of Basque. Nothing flusters him. And at 22, 23 years of age, that's a very impressive feat to have. And that's certainly a big thing to have. 4 games against Arsenal in 2 weeks' time. 4 games against Tottenham. 4 games, away at Man City and Man United, and away at Liverpool when things, people will basically slate him and stuff like that. So, to me, we paid 4 million more than Liverpool paid for Alisson. He's 2 years younger. He's way further in his development than Alisson was 2 years ago. At the end of the day, I think it probably comes out equal, whether it's 4 million more or less. What's 4 million in today's market? To me, they're basically just would have ended for the same price. Yes, Kepa might not be as good of a keeper right now. And someone asked me, would I have rather had Alisson or Kepa? Probably would say Alisson right now. But I think long term, Kepa might be the better option. But that's very difficult to judge.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. Definitely.
I realised we forgot about something.
Oh, go on.
Greeno.
Oh, yeah, he's...
Oh, yeah.
That sounds terrible. I just realised that.
So some tweet just popped up all the players we signed, and it was Green. I was like, oh, yeah. What do we think of Rob Green? Signing of the summer, yeah?
I think he's absolutely class.
Yeah, penalty.
No, look, that penalty save that he made, right? I think that's it. That's all he had to do. Thank you very much. You can stay as third choice goalkeeper, and we'll call you when we need you.
Yeah, he was so happy with
paid back his transfer fee.
Yeah,
he's already made
whatever undisclosed it was.
Yeah, it was hilarious. He was so happy with himself. The people behind him chanting Greeno constantly. He was loving life. It was like, great.
All the people behind the goal that were jumping up and down like we'd won the league. Yeah, epic.
Obviously we've got Rob Green, who left Huddersfield where he didn't play a game, joined Chelsea where he's not going to play a game unless all of our goalkeepers break their legs. And then I'd still probably rather start Marcy Booker.
About Courtois.
You got to give him credit. He played for Huddersfield and he was at Huddersfield and did not play a game and somehow ended up at Chelsea.
I mean, his agent must be a
That's
genius.
hustle.
That's
hustle.
That's impressive. Yeah, that's hustle. That's proper. His agents to get a raise.
I need that agent.
You need that agent. I think Everton may have just signed Jerry Mina, but I'm just loading up Twitter to see if that's true. Apparently,
can anyone
agreed to sign Jerry Mina? Oh, Zouma to Everton doesn't seem.
People are asking about Fekir.
Everyone's asking about Fekir.
Look, Jorginho's Instagram, right? I think it's his Insta.
Yeah.
There's someone pictured at the ground walking along with some of the players, specifically Willian, and it's a little bit blurry, but it does show a small, slightly dark-skinned lad with a beard.
On his Insta story, Jorginho.
I think it's his Insta story, yeah. Check it out. Some people are asking, is it Fekir? Loads saying no. I'm saying yes. I don't think it is. Check it out.
Well, he said he was with Willian.
Yeah, so Willian's in obviously Chelsea because he's been training. It's on the pitch. And there's just this guy in all black and a black cap.
I'm just looking for it now. Let's see if it's still up.
Whose Insta is this?
Check it.
Jorginho, apparently.
Jorginho
Insta.
Obviously, the window shuts in 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, Chelsea's gonna have to be quick.
So yeah, Chelsea gonna have to. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I can't see it, so I don't know.
Nah, I don't think that's Fekir. Like, unless Fekir has changed his beard since the World Cup, he's got a much smaller beard now than he did at the World Cup. So. I mean, turn the sound off, mate.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, yeah. So obviously, spoken about Rob Green, the signing of the summer. Clearly, great signing. Actually, I just want to touch on that just quickly. We gave Eduardo a new deal, yeah, to then loan him out to Vitesse at 37 years of age. What? I mean, Vitesse apparently wanted a new goalie and couldn't afford his wages. But instead of him lowering his wage demands, no, we gave him a new deal, loaned him to Vitesse, and are paying half of his wages.
I'll tell you what, goalkeepers have it good.
You're honestly,
you're just loving life. You're just right.
If you need a career, right?
Well,
if you need a
Jerry Mina, fair play to them. Good signing.
Who?
Jerry Mina, you know, the Colombian from Barcelona that did so well at the World Cup.
Fair play. Yeah, if you need a career, be a goalkeeper because Chelsea will sign you and then flock you out.
Yeah.
I used to play in goal. I just wasn't any good at it.
You're not any good at striker either, though.
Yeah, but that's because I ain't got no stamina. But at least I can admit it.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Goldberg will be coming on any second now. And we will, you know, all these videos that are 100 and something seconds long, we will give you, I don't know, like 1,000-second video right now. Ha! Have you heard of that yet? No. He'll be popping on any second now. He just messaged me that he's ready to go. So yeah, obviously there's also over 1,000 people watching. So first of all, thank you guys for that. Great. I hope you're enjoying the stream.
Quality.
So yeah, I mean, hope you're enjoying it. It sadly doesn't seem like we're signing anyone unless something crazy is going to pop up in the next 60 seconds.
Honestly, yeah, window's closing now. I doubt Zouma's going to go to Everton because Barca have just agreed a deal with Everton for Yerry Mina. So
yeah, and also I'm pretty sure Chelsea just tweeted basically, all right, this is who we signed, and I'm like, we wouldn't do that if we were about to sign someone else unless we're trying to make a secret. But
it's a bit of an anticlimax, but don't be gutted, everyone. It's a strong window, and it looks like we're keeping Batshuayi.
Okay, one thing, it is basically confirmed that Kovacic will play in that age role because Shaw UK Ireland, you know, the deodorant company, they tweeted
of like the window is shut.
The window is shut. Dilly ding, dilly dong.
Dilly ding, dilly dong. That's the last dilly ding, dilly dong.
Yeah, they posted like a quick little video of like Green and Kepa in goal, and then Jorginho in his deep lying position, and then Kovacic in the left side of the midfield three, and Chelsea retweeted that. I mean, obviously, the social media guy might not know what Sarri has planned. Fair enough, but it's a hint at least, I suppose.
Honestly, can we spare a thought, right? Because the window's closed now. And unless if someone's faxed over some paperwork at 16:59, right, it looks like Martial isn't going anywhere. You got to feel for the lad.
It's also that Tottenham have not signed a single player.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, I would have rather signed Rob Green than no one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mr. Alex Goldberg, how are you doing, my sir?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Hello, Alex. How's it going?
He's even got the phone angle on. He's just ready for thousands of seconds of Alex Goldberg videos.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, obviously, the transfer window has just shut. I mean, in theory, things could still be happening if the paperwork has been handed in time, but probably nothing is going to happen. So, of course, I mean, we've seen your video speaking about players, speaking about the board, speaking about Sarri and stuff. And basically, if anyone hasn't seen it, obviously make sure you follow Alex on Twitter and stuff. If you haven't already. If you're not, you're missing out. But do you just want to give us a quick little rundown of your thoughts of the whole transfer window and of the season ahead as well?
The transfer window was the definition of a roller coaster ride. It was obviously uneventful for the whole entire World Cup. And it honestly feels like now with everything that's happened this week, that Conte Sarri drama never really happened, but it did. And I still hate that it took so long, and I understand that it wasn't an easy thing to complete bringing in Maurizio Sarri. It was frustrating, though, how it took so long. And it's funny, you know, I did a video earlier this week on Monday kind of calling out the board. I didn't want to do that because I kind of was so happy with Jorginho in and of itself. But it got to the point where I was getting a little concerned that that wasn't enough. And I'll give it to the board. You have a situation as tough as Thibaut Courtois, the way he handled it. I think everybody knows how we all Chelsea fans feel about that. But then again, it was something where Chelsea probably were unprepared regarding in terms of his exit. But then again, if you look at Kepa's quotes today, maybe they weren't unprepared. So I really think they kind of made up for the whole entire summer transfer window in 1 week. And sure, Nabil Fekir looks like he's not coming to Chelsea, but nonetheless, everybody that Chelsea acquired are good acquisitions in terms of Jorginho, Kepa, and Kovacic. Those are three players that really make the Chelsea team better. So I think it was a damn good window. And I really do think it will help this Chelsea team get a top four finish. I have high hopes. I still think there's going to be a slow start, maybe compared to how it will transpire in the middle of the season, the end of the season. But I'm very hopeful that this team will be legitimately competitive.
Oh, I completely agree. Because obviously you and I have kind of messaged back and forth on Twitter and stuff about where Kovacic could possibly be playing. And I've obviously seen that you see him in that number 8, in that hamstring role, if you will. And obviously, if some people haven't seen you speak about that, do you just want to elaborate why you see him as that? Because like I've said to the guys before you came on, to me, I feel like he's basically capable of everything. Defending, like you've mentioned, attacking, passing, running, dribbling. I feel like for exactly those reasons is why he's best suited for the role that Conte is playing right now and not maybe as the attacking player. But obviously, if you want to elaborate why you possibly disagree or why you think he could still feature in that number 8 role.
Yeah, well, I just think, my pet peeve all summer long was people, once they knew Sarri was coming, trying to mirror the exact Napoli team to Chelsea. And that's just, Napoli didn't have N'Golo Conte. Sure, Alon was a great player, but why do that? I mean, that's almost slighting Maurizio Sarri, saying he can only manage Hamšík, Alon, and Jorginho, and that's just not the case. You have the benefit here at Chelsea of just having a different team. They don't have Eden Hazard. They don't have N'Golo Conte, as I said. So Jorginho and Conte are starting, and that Jorginho is going to be that deep-lying midfielder. He will be. I mean, I loved the other day in that friendly against Lyon. If you watch back to that pass he had to N'Golo Conte, he pointed to N'Golo Conte, where he wanted him to go, and a couple passes transpired, and then all of a sudden he found him in a seam. So maybe that is where Kovacic will actually be, but nonetheless, I think Kovacic and Conte will be a little further up. And, you talked about one of Kovacic's qualities. He's a really damn good dribbler. That is one of his, I think it was 2 seasons ago, he had the best dribble percentage rate in La Liga. And sure, you can take that with a grain of salt because he didn't play as much as some other players, but he's a really good dribbler, a really efficient dribbler, gives you something that N'Golo Conte and Jorginho don't have. And I think it was really important for the third starting center mid, assuming Kovacic starts once he gets into the mix of things. I think it's really important that third starting center mid is the link from the midfield to the attack, and I totally see Kovacic being able to do that.
I mean, obviously, us three are kind of discussed about. As much as I agree on, I agree with your points. The only thing I'm still, whether it's like Napoli or not, I feel like any team that does well kind of needs a goal threat from midfield, and I'm not sure Kovacic can provide that as much as we maybe need, because we know for sure that N'Golo Kante will not provide that, even though he looked very attacking in a lot of scenarios against Lyon. But then his finishing wasn't great, because that's just not what he's great at. I mean, you're not going to put Morata at left back, are you? So, and Jorginho isn't, because of how deep he plays, he's not really going to pop up with 15 goals a season either, even though Hamsik didn't do that last season either. I understand that. But obviously, you kind of want someone that scores goals from midfield, especially at Chelsea, because we've just seen Frank Lampard for years and scored 211 goals. So I still feel like that's maybe the only thing where I'm not all too happy with, and possibly the striker. But I feel like there's something that's lacking. Not saying we're going to be awful because of it, but I feel like, kind of that spark maybe.
Sure. I mean, that is the downside to Mateo Kovacic. He doesn't have a lot of goals to his name. He's not a proven goal scorer. I think he has the ability to score more goals than he has in his career. And I think Jorginho and Conte also have the ability to score more goals than they have. But like you said, that's only going to go so far. So, yes, that is a cause for concern. Maybe Eden Hazard does have to be more selfish. And whoever the striker is, they got to bang goals. They got to bang goals, because Chelsea are going to have possession in a large amount of the games. And they absolutely have to be clinical. And as of right now, it seems like there's still 4 strikers on Chelsea. So Maurizio Sarri is going to have his pick of the litter in terms of who is most on and who he can trust to score goals. But as I said, Hazard will have to be more selfish. Whoever the right winger is will have to be a good finisher. I mean, I still hope Callum Hudson-Odoi in a few weeks can sneak his way in, but I'll remain realistic. But getting back to the midfielders specifically and how they're not goal scorers, it is important to note that Maurizio Sarri has always viewed himself not as a manager, really, but as a coach. So I got to think maybe there's a chance one of these players surprises us goal-scoring-wise, and I would think that if one of them is going to surprise us goal-scoring-wise, it probably would be Mateo Kovacic.
That is true. Does it have any effect on your opinion on the move itself, that it seems like there is no option to buy him at the end of the season involved in the whole deal? Because we've discussed this, and a lot of people have spoken about it. It doesn't change everything all too much, but in my mind, it still puts a slight dampen on it, because to me, it's like the better he plays, the more likely Real Madrid might be to want to keep him, especially with Modric being 33 years of age and possibly coming to the end of his career, even if they do have Isco and Asensio, because they do play in slightly different positions. So I'm like, the better he does, the more likely he is to not be here. But also that if he doesn't do well, we don't want him here anyway. So I'm like kind of stuck in two minds here.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if there was an option to buy, there's no way to lose, right? Because if he doesn't play well, then fine, be gone and you're back to Real Madrid. But if he does play well, you have a little bit more power and you can really act on it. But it's not like they can't act on it and they can't find a deal if he does play well. But yeah, you're right. Real Madrid will probably want him that much more to return. However, he's coming to Chelsea motivated. I saw a couple people on Twitter saying, well, he's on loan, so he might not be motivated. No, that's exactly the opposite. He wanted to come here so he could prove what he can do. This is a really talented player. He's played for Inter Milan, Real Madrid, and of course for Croatia. 3 very good teams, clubs, whatever you want to call them. And he's never really had his opportunity to fully shine. He's 24 years old. He's coming with a chip on his shoulder. So I understand. I get the attachment issue. It sucks because, I saw a couple of people say too, like, well, if he does really well, it's going to be bittersweet. He has a great game and it's going to be like, oh, that's great. And we're losing that next year. I get that. But my thing is, Maurizio Sarri implementing his style is like my number one priority this season. We all want trophies, but we want Sarri to be able to show Chelsea Football Club that this style works. We've had obviously way different managers recently, and we are thirsty for attacking football. So if Kovacic ultimately helps Maurizio Sarri play that style of attacking football better, I'm all for it. And, I'll bring it up again. Mason Mount is waiting in the wings. I have no doubt he will have a great year under Frank Lampard. He is a goal scorer, by the way. I mean, he can score goals much better than a Jorginho, Conte, or a Kovacic. So at worst, Kovacic, they're not the same player, but at worst, he's just warm in the seat for Mason Mount. So I don't care too much about there not being an option to buy.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I've just kind of focused on Alex a little bit because I'm not quite sure how much time he's got on his hands. But of course, if Younes or Lewis, if you two want to jump in on anything that we've just discussed or about, Mason Mount, which is a great point, by the way, if you want to, say something on that, go for it.
No, Mason Mount's a quality player you mentioned, because you saw the goal he scored in Frank Lampard's first league game for Derby. Cracking goal. So yeah, you can see that he has the ability to score from distance, and he's got the best mentor that you could possibly have, Frank Lampard himself. If he can sculpture him into a type of player that we are missing since the departure of Frank Lampard, then yeah, we're winning. We are definitely winning.
Sure.
And yes, Kovacic for now. Once Mason Mount develops and has that time under Frank at Derby and finds his confidence and finds his rhythm, we can bring him back to Chelsea and see how he does. But I'm optimistic, definitely optimistic for him.
Yeah, my only fear is, as well as he might be doing in the Championship and as much as he might develop under Frank Lampard in the Championship, is it really smart and is it, I'd almost say possible, to make the step from the Championship, depending on where Derby finish, to Chelsea Football Club, to top 4, to top 6, because to me that is a big step. That's why, even if it is under Frank Lampard, I was from the first minute I heard about this not fully happy with him being loaned out to the Championship, because I do think that he possesses enough ability to play in the Premier League or in a club, say in Germany, that possibly could even feature in the Europa League. Apparently Ajax were interested as well, possibly Champions League football. I wouldn't have left it in Holland because I think the league there is not quite strong enough. But maybe a Premier League or a Bundesliga move would have been better for him to make him ready for Chelsea next season rather than maybe another year in between.
You know what's funny? The Championship sometimes can be a little bit underrated because it's very physical even though the Premier League is the Premier League and we know how it works. But if you're looking for that, how I see the Championship is you look at the Premier League as it is and then there's the rest. And the Championship, in terms of the rest, is the Premier League, if you know what I mean. That old school English, typical English style football, from grassroots all the way up to its highest level, is probably the Championship. And then you get the Premier League, which is just a different spectrum and a different dimension, to be fair. Yeah. But the Championship, you need to be physical. You have to understand the English game to the core, and there's a lot of pace to it. Sometimes the Premier League is known to be quick, but there are times where you're watching a game and you see players have all the time on ball that they need. Sometimes it can slow down depending on who you're playing against. But the Championship is a very fast league and very physical. And I just feel for his personal development, that's what's needed for him. Yes, after that, maybe next season, a Premier League loan move or a move to a top team in Europe somewhere might be the best option, not to just rush him straight into the Chelsea team. But after that, I think he'd be definitely a contender to come into the team. Definitely a contender, at least.
Alex, your thoughts? Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the Championship is probably being underrated here. For me, I agree that he probably could have stepped in this year and played a role. But playing time is something that is obviously important at that age at that stage in your career. Now, some may say, well, Callum Hudson-Odoi is 17 and he's in the team. But first of all, different positions. I actually think you can be more daring with someone in Callum Hudson-Odoi's position, where you put him out in space and he just needs to do what he does. When Mason Mount is in the center of the pitch, maybe you want to have them a little bit more seasoned, even though he's 19 and Hudson-Odoi is 17. I actually look at it like this. I think they could have sent him anywhere they wanted to in a top 5 league. They could have sent him to a PSV or an Ajax who are actually playing in European competitions. But I really view it as, and I didn't like the Championship loan overall. I thought it was very careless. It's like, oh, we have Frank Lampard at Derby County. We'll just send Mason Mount there. I was like, okay, that's so predictable. I mean, he's better than necessarily a Derby County, and that's no slight on Derby County. However, the more I've thought about it, I honestly think they're sending Mason Mount to Frank Lampard for some finishing touches. I really view it as that. It's okay, we want this kid. And I know a cynic may say, how can you say that? Chelsea's history with youth is ridiculous. But we're seeing change, hopefully already. If Callum Hudson-Odoi does anything with the first team this year, that helps Mason Mount next year, especially if Ethan Ampadu does as well. So I view it as like Frank Lampard is kind of maybe Mason Mount's last step and polishing him off and giving him his wisdom before he really makes the leap to the first team. I honestly think we will see Mason Mount next year, even if a Kovacic somehow is still on Chelsea. I think with great talent like that, it finds a way. And most importantly, the thing that I cannot stop harping about with Mason Mount, it's not his skill. He's very talented. It's what's between his ears. If you've ever listened to an interview with this kid, he is so beyond his years. I've talked about it a lot, but I love the quote where his father warned him that John Terry was really the last academy player to break through the first team. And he goes, I'll be the next. And everything you hear from this kid, he's ready. He has a mindset where he kind of knows the ups and downs of being a professional, and it doesn't faze him. And I expect him to have a great season all year long for Derby County, and I do expect him to see him next year for Chelsea.
I mean, you're all making great points here. When I watched the Reading versus Derby game, I'm like, none of these people can hold the ball. I mean, maybe it was a bit of a bad example of a game, but whenever I watch the championship, I'm like, none of these people can hold the game. Yes, it's very physical and it's quite quick in a lot of cases as well. I feel like it's only quick because no one holds the ball, and that's why it's constantly back and forth. But, I completely agree with both of your points, in all honesty. As Alex doesn't have all the time in the world, I feel like maybe we should touch upon what we think the lineup against Huddersfield on Saturday will be, because the transfer window is shut. We're not going to do anything. We know who's going to be in the squad unless, someone like Batshuayi or Zouma or Musanda until Saturday gets loaned out or something, or sold, or Bakayoko. But we kind of know who we've got available. So, do you just want to talk about, let's start with Alex, because I'm not sure when you want to head off and stuff. So who do you think should start, especially in goal? And, Hazard, is he fit enough, as in to start already? Pedro, Callum Hudson-Odoi, that kind of thing.
Sure. I mean, this is the year where it's hardest to figure out that first game's lineup because of the World Cup. Not everybody's been back at preseason for the same amount of time. And, oh, man, the fan in me wants to say it's a really good sign that Callum Hudson-Odoi didn't play at all in the friendly against Lyon, because he played about 60 minutes, I want to say, on Sunday in the Community Shield. And maybe Sarri is thinking, he's downplayed it. Sarri said, let's not expect him to play much in the Premier League. But maybe he is expecting to start him at left wing. Maybe he's not going to play Eden Hazard just yet. What worries me all of a sudden about who the left winger will be on Saturday is Willian did start against Lyon at left wing. So maybe it will be Willian at left wing, Pedro at right wing, and Morata at striker. I'm going to throw up. But I really hope it's Hudson-Odoi at left wing. I really do. And I hope Pedro, honestly, is at right wing, because at least he's more seasoned with the system. I think Willian would be a much more appropriate sub. Obviously, I want Hazard to start, but I doubt that is going to happen.
Do you actually think that Callum Hudson-Odoi, if Hazard, once Hazard does obviously start on the left wing, as he will once he does find full fitness, do you think that Callum Hudson-Odoi, as much as left wing and right wing does have a difference to it, and even at 17, I think he's more than capable to play on the right as well. Maybe not just as well, but I think, in my opinion, probably still better than Willian and Pedro. Maybe not right now, but within a few months and especially years to come, I think he'll certainly be better on the right than both of those of them two will be.
I couldn't agree more, and I love when you say something like that, and then people trying to act mature. They're like, "Oh no, he's 17, he's raw." No, but he's really damn good. And let's not act like Pedro and Willian don't make loads of mistakes. So if you're going to caution me that Hudson-Odoi will make mistakes at 17 years old, what are Pedro and Willian doing half the time? Especially Willian on the step over, and cross it into the stands. I mean, that's a mistake in and of itself. And if you look at Hudson-Odoi, he already is kind of understanding Sarri's system. He already knows, all right, should I take this guy on 1v1 or should I pass it back to Jorginho? I mean, he's already showing a knowledge for the system. So you mentioned right wing. I actually think he can play at right wing. His weak foot has definitely improved. He's just played a lot more at left wing, and he's unbelievable at left wing. But I actually love the account on Twitter, Scouted Football, who follow the under-23s, and they did a great profile on Callum Hudson-Odoi last year, and they absolutely believe everything that I've asked them, that he can play on the right wing. They actually think he can play at left wing, not striker, but like a center forward and a right wing. I mean, talent is talent, and I think he could be devastating on both sides. So, hopefully in a matter of time, when Eden Hazard is definitely starting every game at left wing, I mean, people are talking about maybe Hazard starts at a false 9 eventually, but there's so many strikers right now, I don't want to think about that. Yeah. I do think Hudson-Odoi can earn the opportunity to maybe start at right wing. And by the way, guys, you know this. When the game is actually going on, sure, the starting lineup is the starting lineup. Everybody's out of position, right? But once the ball is kicked, Eden Hazard is over on the right wing a lot as well. I mean, he can play anywhere. I love when he drifts to the right side, to be honest. And that means Hudson-Odoi can go back to the left side. So, clearly we know our favorites here at the winger positions. And then, getting back to your original question of the lineup, obviously Jorginho and Conte. Yeah, Conte's hasn't been back for a while, but he's in goal of Conte. I mean, I think he's absolutely playing and starting.
He has to play.
Yeah, I think he does. And, I want that. I want them to build their chemistry on the pitch in games. Sure, training's great, but you might as well do it in games already, and I think they're up for that. That third mid, I highly doubt it's Kovacic. Maybe it's Cesc Fabregas, maybe it's Ross Barkley. I assume those are your two best bets. Yeah. Now, defense is what upsets me. I really just looks like it's going to be Marcos Alonso at left back, which
I don't want to see that.
Neither do I.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm probably extra hard on Marcos Alonso. I'll admit he's had some two good seasons for Chelsea, and I put good in quotes because if he never scored goals, are they really good? But they were good. But I don't want him at a pure left back spot. I just don't.
Nope.
Emerson had a slow start to the preseason, but I thought he really played well in the game versus Lyon. And I think he's a way more traditional left back. I think we all want Ampadu starting at this point. But once again, I think it'll probably be Rudiger. And I don't know. I mean, I don't want David Luiz starting, but he's played a lot. So, I mean, I would hope it would be Rudiger and Christensen if Ampadu's not in there. And then right back, I assume we will agree that it'll be Azpilicueta. So, and it sounds like Kepa is really a distinct possibility to start in net. So, overall, I think we're going to like the lineup, but I guarantee you we'll have a couple eye rolls when we see it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And also, I'm not expecting all too much, as in saying, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't beat Huddersfield. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't beat Huddersfield.
We got to do with Arsenal coming up next.
We'll beat Arsenal. Fine, no worries.
But people will point out. How Sarri started at Napoli. He had a really rough start his first month, or maybe even 2 months. So this is the time where you need to have I know we're all going to be totally disheartened and feel deflated if they draw or even lose to Huddersfield, but we have to keep the big picture in focus. Yeah. We really do, especially if someone like Eden Hazard doesn't play. I mean, we clearly are missing our best player. So, it'll be frustrating, but this type of a system takes some time. Now, someone may say, but Conte won his first year. Yeah, but Conte was playing a much more conservative style. It's a lot easier to integrate that type of a style quickly than it is to integrate Sarri's style. So, patience really will be needed.
Yeah, especially because obviously Conte only changed it from Mourinho style, which was different, especially with the different formation coming up after the Arsenal game. But in a sense, had still a lot of similarities in the way the pragmatism was, shown on the pitch. So it was nowhere near as big of a change. And I've already made a reference to your comparison of being a station wagon and a Ferrari. A great comparison. So that's basically just what's happening. And between Conte and Mourinho, we just changed between a good station wagon to another good station wagon, in all honesty.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do you have any more time, Alex? Do you want to stick around for a little bit longer, or what's happening?
Yeah, well, no, I can stick around for a couple more questions, maybe like 10 minutes, and then I'll just rudely log off.
Cool. I mean, of course, for you, Younes and Lewis, do you have any questions for Alex before obviously he pops off, and then we can obviously basically discuss our own little silly things?
I want to ask really quick, in terms of Sarri's system, we all know it's going to take time. And we all have our individual time frames and how we reckon it might go and how quick or how long it might take. How quick do you reckon, or how long do you reckon it will take for the team to fully understand Sarri's system and for that system to be fully implemented? As in 100%, everyone knows what they're doing. Let's go.
Yeah, I would say I feel like a realistic timeline would be 2 full months. And maybe I'm actually being aggressive there. It might take a little bit longer, but I think 2 months with all of the competitions that Chelsea do play. Now, obviously, FA Cup doesn't even start for a while, but the training, the Premier League games, and just, Sure. I mean, he was appointed late, but then again, the World Cup affected training anyway. So it's not like Chelsea got ripped off of really any more training than other teams did. And I also think it might be 2 months and maybe not 3 or 4 months, because there are players in this team. Now, some of them are not Sarri style, like an Alonso or a Victor Moses, in my opinion. But I think, as much as I don't love Willian, I think Willian is a Sarri style player. I've said that from the beginning, and Willian haters are like, they totally don't hear me say that. I've said that consistently of like, I don't want Willian here. I wanted to sell him to Barcelona for that fee, but I actually think he is kind of a Sarri style player, a balanced dribbler, good work rate, whatever. But, I do think he fits in well. I think Michy Batshuayi fits in well, the Sarri style. I definitely think Eden Hazard fits in well because, guys, as you can tell already in the preseason, Sarri likes to build his attack from the left-hand side. And that, that benefited Callum Hudson-Odoi a lot. That benefited Lorenzo Insigne last year a lot. And that's going to be beautiful for Eden Hazard, who just can do anything with it. He can cut back in, he can play team football, or he can get isolated. So, I feel like 2 months is a realistic timeline where things are starting to click. You'll start to see clips on Twitter and YouTube of that triangular passing. And, I do think Conte and Jorginho will be the overall key to it. I think if they get a quick chemistry, then everything will kind of fall in place. People point out that Azpilicueta is not a great offensive player, but he still has the capability to do basic triangular passing. And I think the center backs, Rudiger and even David Luiz, but Andreas Christensen and Ampadu, they absolutely have the passing ability. So although there are some dead wood players that probably need to leave, I do think there are players on this team that can pick up Sarri's style rather quickly. So 2 months.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, for example, N'Golo Kante will prove a lot of people wrong that have this stigma about him that he can't pass and that he can only defend and that he's not got any significant attacking abilities. I think it will prove a lot of people wrong. He's not Jorginho. He's not, Kovacic or Dybala or something crazy. But I think he's a lot better at that than people think he is. He goes on these long, massive dribbles sometimes and then he gives the ball away. But I think with a lot of work under a manager like Sarri, I think that can improve drastically. And about Azpilicueta, I never get this when people have this argument. I'm like, he assisted 7 goals last season. Yes, it was from a different position. Still scores 7 assists from crosses. And that's what he's going to be doing at times from right back. And Morata, if anything, can deal with crosses better than anything else. So I don't really see an issue with Azpilicueta at all. He still needs time to get used to that position. Again, maybe, because it's been a lot of years since playing regularly at right back. But I think he'll be just fine because he's a great player overall.
Yeah, I agree. And then maybe I'll log off after this, but I'm glad you brought that up. Is last year at Napoli, Isaj was Sarri's right back, who was a very defensive right back. And actually, in Sarri's system, that right back usually kind of stays behind sometimes and acts as an extra center back. So I get people saying, oh, it's going to take a little while for maybe Azpi to get used to right back again. But half the time when Chelsea are on the attack, he might be serving as an extra center back. And he's been playing center back for the last couple of years. So I think it actually really does fit in well with what he's trying to do. And as you pointed out, he is a good passer. He's just not what you're really, he's not Zappacosta, who's booking it down the sideline. And he's not Victor Moses, who I hate to even compliment Victor Moses attacking wise, because if anything, Victor Moses, who started off as an attacking player, became almost better at defense than he was at offense. But either way, I think he's bang average at both. And I think, with every managerial change, there are players that benefit from that change, like a Ross Barkley, perhaps. We'll see now with Kovacic, but I think overall he benefited from that move. But there are also players who really suffer from that. Bakayoko suffers from that. I think Alonso should suffer from that. But Victor Moses is another one that really is a perfect Antonio Conte player, but not at all a good Maurizio Sarri player. So it'll be interesting to see. But, I love Azpi. I want Hazard to be captain, but if Azpi's captain, nobody is going to have a problem with that, including Eden Hazard himself. So, I love Azpi, and I know he's made a lot of mistakes recently, and it's not even a hot take anymore to say that, like, Azpi has faults to his game. But what's the point of really spending too much time harping on that? They all have faults to their game. Azpi's played every defensive position possible in the last handful of years. And if you ask Victor Moses, half the time Azpi was responsible for telling Victor Moses where to be. So give Azpi time. I think he'll be great at right back.
I
So,
completely agree.
guys, I appreciate you having me. I'm going to log off now with all the craziness, but it was an awesome pleasure to join.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Nice to have you, Alex, man. Take care.
So, guys, of course, if you don't already, do make sure that you follow Alex on Instagram. Let me just on Instagram. I say I don't even know if he has Instagram, in all honesty, but it's Twitter, because he gives great content. As you can see, he's a great speaker as well. And if you don't follow him yet, it's Alex Goldberg _ basically at Alex Goldberg _ Make sure you follow him. Great guy, and yeah, thanks for having him on. Obviously, I left you two out a little bit there. I'm sorry about that.
That's fine.
But the few things that we maybe should touch upon still is the players that we have loaned out and obviously gotten rid of, basically. So obviously there is still talks about Bakayoko joining Milan. Obviously there's no stress in that because their transfer window is open until August 31st. But that looks very like it's going to happen. The only reason why I think Drinkwater might stick around is because we need homegrown players rather than foreign players. Then you had a lot of loan moves to the Championship and also League One in Dujon Sterling to Coventry, I'm pretty sure. Was it Tomori that just joined Lampard at Derby as well? It was, wasn't it?
Was it?
I haven't seen any news on that.
Yeah,
Neither have I.
A few days ago.
Oh, yes. I think you're right.
I thought you were talking about today.
Right.
No, that was a few days ago. Let me just check.
No, it was a few days ago. He did.
Yeah, he did. And that was probably because the one right back against Reading from Derby kept passing it to the opposition. So Lampard was like, I need someone else.
Yeah, so why not just get into the Chelsea youth team and just plug yourself a player from there?
Someone donated. What was the question he donated for? I appreciate
the coverage.
You're more than welcome, David Tellers. Can you call Alex Tellers and tell him to join us in January, please?
No.
Thanks. Yeah, and obviously there was Mason Mount. They've touched on him. Ola Aina is still around, which I find really confusing because it's clearly not being used. But why is he not being loaned out then? That makes no sense. Because I see Ola Aina as a great prospect at right back. I mean, Lewis, if you want to call
anyone? Oh, so I was still looking at the questions. What was it you were saying?
Ola Aina, because he's not been loaned out to my knowledge, and I don't really get the point because Sarri clearly isn't using him, so I don't see why he's not being loaned out because I see him as a great prospect at right back in the future.
Maybe it's just a case that no one's come in for him.
Nah, that someone in the Championship will have come in for him.
I know, but we would have heard about it.
Yeah, but he because he played a great season at Hull City, basically started every game to my knowledge. So
do remember the clubs in the leagues below us have until the 31st of August to loan anyone that they want.
But I would have hoped for him to get a Premier League move though, because I think he has the ability for that. Someone like a Huddersfield, a Cardiff, maybe someone like that. I would have kind of hoped for that. Maybe not a mid-table team, but bottom half team that might be fighting relegation, but still getting used to the Premier League rather than. Well, apparently, I've just read dilly ding dilly dong. I've heard Everton have done Zouma just in time. Apparently, paper was sent across before 5 p.m. and finalising things. Things are being finalised right now. I mean, I'm not sure what they're doing with Jeremy and Zouma, unless they're playing a back three. I'm not sure what Marco Silva does. But
has Zouma been finalised?
It seems like, it's apparently just about got over the line. So, we'll see. I mean, hopefully that will get him back going. He could be someone like Koulibaly in a sense for us. But, with all the young centre-backs and Christensen and Ampadu and Rudiger is fairly young as well that we have, I don't really see a realistic future for Zouma at the club. Am I forgetting about any players that we loaned out? Obviously, we touched upon Eduardo. Did we loan out anyone else? Obviously, there is Batshuayi, possibly. Tammy Abraham is still around, who I, by the way, think should be loaned out because I'm not sure if we talked about this off camera or on camera, but I think, he should be loaned out just because of his development. There's no point being third choice striker at Chelsea.
And to be honest, he hasn't impressed in pre-season, I'm not going to lie.
But because Morata hasn't done that either, and I think that was more down to the system not working yet, that he hasn't impressed rather than him being bad. But, I get you.
That's fair, but to be honest, for me, it's a case of it's just poor touches and just, in my opinion, just being invisible, to be honest.
But I feel like if he didn't impress Sarri somehow, he would be gone already. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe Sarri's
he's been here from the start of training.
But end of the day, we are still going off just the 90 minutes, but it is also the 90 most important minutes of the week. And if you're looking at that, you're not seeing a lot. That's what's worrying me.
Yeah, that's true. But, But one other thing. I mean, does any of you remember any other loanies? If we loaned out anyone else that we didn't mention just now, guys. I mean, Callas. Where did we loan out Callas? Does anyone remember? To be honest, there's so many. We've loaned out so many people. I can't remember where we loaned out Callas to. Let's just check.
Callas apparently
£10
Middlesbrough were in for him, but I don't think he's actually gone there.
Yesterday was posted looking like Thomas Callas will once again head out to Middlesbrough. Nothing has been confirmed in that direction, but yet again, obviously, their transfer.
Another donation.
Another donation. What has been asked?
79p, just nothing. Someone just donated 79p. Thanks, Cameron.
Oh, quality.
We're gonna buy, I don't know, mince pies with that for Christmas.
That's a cheap mince pie.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had a mince pie in my life. It's not a thing here. I don't know.
You guys.
Yeah.
I've just been looking at the just checking out on Twitter, and apparently it's completely off subject, but apparently Atletico fans are trying to arrange for when the Madrid derby comes around to throw rats onto the pitch.
Oh, no way.
Toy rats. They're like little toy rats from IKEA. It's on the Atletico fans' Twitter.
Can we come as well? And
can we join them?
On there as well?
I was going to say, can we come?
Let's go.
Can we come? Did you hear about this? That apparently the whole stadium was built illegally, and they basically mugged the whole council estate off and gave them fake blueprints of the ground, and it's all illegal, and they don't know what's happening right now.
Oh, quick one. The Premier League are processing 10 different deal sheets that will allow the clubs involved to complete the transfers before 7 o'clock. No one knows who these clubs are and what these deals are, but there's 10.
10.
What?
I mean, like I said, I don't think we signed anyone because otherwise we wouldn't have made that tweet. Who we signed, basically. I don't see it, but I could be wrong, of course.
Yeah, I don't see anything happening in terms of us, to be fair. But yeah, that's an interesting fact. 10. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Someone said 9 of them are Fulham, apparently, but
9 of them are Fulham.
Oh wow, I'm really not happy.
Or surely. So, of course, Jamal Blackman went on loan to Leeds. Decent move, I think. Although, why? I mean, he's been on loan a lot of times now, but I feel like he could have been just fine as a number 2 and playing the Cups. I think he's more than ready for that. So,
yeah, definitely. He needed to play somewhere because he wasn't going to get it at Chelsea. Let's be real.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he's impressed wherever he's been on loan. To my knowledge, he's went to League 2, League 1. And, the Championship. Barbara Rahman is, of course, still at Schalke. Why are we not selling him? Jay Clark-Salter went to Vitesse. Michael Hector, it doesn't say a club on the Chelsea website where he is. Todd Kane, the poor guy that's constantly injured, is at Hull City. Matt Miazga is nowhere. Trevor Chalobah just joined Ipswich. Kenneth O'Meara will probably go to Championship club. Zoum obviously could be still having Everton. Reece James joined Wigan. Jada Silva today joined... forgot again. Who was it? I spoke about earlier. Bristol. Kennedy on loan to Newcastle, which I think is a good move, although I don't think it will ever come back. So, good luck to him there, basically. Lewis Baker went to Leeds. The poor guy is never going to make it at Chelsea in his life. Why am we selling him? Nathan went to Atletico Mineiro, who we signed years ago. Everyone thought he's great. Now he's back in Brazil. That seems like it was a lot of point in signing him. Mario Pasalic, who I actually think is a decent player, but we found the wrong loan move for him over the years. Went to Atalanta Bergamo in the Serie A. Charlie Colkett went to Shrewsbury, captain of the under-18 side until 2 years ago. Probably not going to make it either.
No.
Hal Scott, I think today or yesterday, went to Telstar. I don't even know where that is, in all honesty. I don't even know who that is or where that is. Telstar. Casey Palmer went to Blackburn. Are they in the Championship or League One?
Who? Blackburn?
Yeah.
I think they're I think they're League One. Hang on. No, they're Championship.
Yeah, they are. They finished 12th last season, I think.
Yeah.
So, Jacob Maddox, who I don't know anything about, in all honesty, went to Cheltenham. And for some reason, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is deemed as a forward on the Chelsea website. What are you doing? Obviously, he's not being loaned out. So we've covered that. Does anyone want to have a little bit of a rant about Courtois still, or do we just gonna ignore that?
Hey, Atletico fans from looks of it are doing it for us.
Yeah, and quick shout out to the Atletico fans. If you've got any space, feel free to invite us. We'll be there instantly.
at least throw some blue rats as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or we should send some over to the Atletico fans and just, on the envelope put from Chelsea.
Because we're now basically just friends with Atletico.
If it helps, we sent them Costa. He can do enough damage for all of us combined.
Yeah, Costa can just kill. Okay, killing is maybe a bit harsh, but just injure him on the pitch. Just do that.
You know what? Yeah, when Atletico plays Real Madrid, we'll just tell Costa to very subtly.
I don't think we need to tell
Courtois.
Costa, in all honesty.
You what?
I don't think we need to tell Costa. I think he'll figure that out himself.
Yeah. Just tell him Thibaut, and that's it. That's all we need to do.
Exactly. I mean, they even gave him like a kind of like walk of fame thing on the floor outside the new ground, like when we played them, I think.
Oh no, it wasn't that. It's because when they opened their new stadium, they have a thing on the floor for players who played over 100 games, and Courtois was part of it, Costa's part of it, and everyone was just having a look at it. The only ones that got damaged were Aguero, Arda Turan's, and Hugo Sanchez's. Now Courtois is just part of the same fate as those three, and they've already started.
Wow.
Oh well.
Good luck, but no luck, Thibaut.
Exactly. I mean,
What happens when you're a snake?
Go on.
That's what happens when you're a snake.
That's what happens when you're a snake. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if anyone isn't following that, and obviously thinks, "Why are we so harsh on Courtois?" Basically, we don't believe the whole family story, and also, even if it is true, shouldn't have been a dick to your girlfriend, and then she wouldn't have left you, mate, and then she would still be in London. So, maybe not. And maybe shagging teammates' girlfriends like Kevin De Bruyne, maybe don't do things like that. Then maybe...
I just don't like him because he talks shit in the media. That's all.
Well, yeah, I just generally don't like people that cheat, except John Terry. I love him anyway.
I hate JT.
There's a way you got to do it, right? We all understand, as I said in a video, we're not stupid. We understand if you want to go and be with your kids. You know, family's important, but there's a way of going about it. You don't need to skip training, avoid contact with the club, go AWOL. You could have just handed in the request and say, "I want to go home and be with my family." It would have just processed the transfer straight away. We're not stupid, and we would have respected him and say good luck. But no,
completely.
He's done it his way.
Of course, Alex kind of talked us through his lineup for the Saturday. Let's just go through it quickly so we can answer some questions, because obviously we will finish the stream around 6 p.m. I'll just run through it quickly. I think that he will, and I think that he should. Kepa will be in goal. I want Emerson to start left back, but it will be Alonso, which is frustrating, and we should have signed the left back, but we didn't, which still pisses me off. Azpilicueta will right back. The two centre backs would probably be really good at David Luiz. And actually, I would even start Christensen. I think Ampadu has been much better in pre-season than Christensen. And I think if it's not David Luiz, it should be Ampadu, not Christensen. But, might be by myself on that. Midfield will probably be, obviously, Jorginho and Conte, and then it'd probably be Barkley, even though I would rather see Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Kovacic. We'll see how training goes, and maybe he'll start against Arsenal. We'll see about that, because he said himself in his interview that, because he wanted to move to Chelsea, he didn't really do a lot of training at Madrid and did a lot of soda sessions kind of thing, which fair play to him. For if, Madrid said, "Oh, you're not training with the squad," then if you force him to move, or if you want to move. But still, obviously his fitness isn't there yet, so that might take him a week or two. So that's the midfield. Morata will start up front. And then it's obviously a question, will it be Hazard? Will Hazard start, or will he come on, say, at half-time after 60 minutes?
I think he'll come on as a sub.
I think he'll come on. Yeah.
He looked a bit not fit from his holiday pictures. And fair play. Like, you're going on your holiday, as much as you're a professional athlete, if you're also, still strict with everything on holiday, when are you ever going to enjoy time? Like, I think it's fair play to them. Obviously, it's an issue with the World Cup and the preseason being so short, especially for Hazard, literally a week. That it's a bit of an issue, but I think fair play. So, but if it isn't Hazard, do we think it's Willian and Pedro, or do we think it's Callum Hudson-Odoi and Pedro, or Callum Hudson-Odoi and Willian? Because I actually think Callum Hudson-Odoi will start. I have a feeling he will, and I want him to anyway.
I'd love him to.
Do you think he will?
A part of me says no, but I reckon Sarri might just have that faith in him, and I hope he does, because I trust him. I'll definitely play him, and I reckon he'll do bits against Huddersfield. As to who is going to be on the other side, whether it be Pedro or Willian, I'm not entirely sure. I reckon Willian might get the nod, but yeah, I reckon Hudson-Odoi should be picked, definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree. The rest of the team, do you agree with mine? Do you have any other thoughts or whatever?
I think this one's going to change eventually with a couple of games down the line, or maybe actually even Arsenal. I think Arsenal might see the return of the strongest 11, but no, I reckon the team that you put out is what's going to start. We still got to know the whole striker situation.
Yeah.
I mean, if I see Morata in the starting lineup, right? I don't know how I'm going to react because it's not like there's any other choice, but I don't want him to play.
In all honesty, you can't. I don't want. I still. Oh yeah, that's what I want to touch upon. Why on earth did Giroud come on against Lyon and not Batshuayi? Why?
Yeah,
Giroud makes no sense in Sarri's system. I should have asked Alex that. But like that makes no sense whatsoever. He doesn't suit it at all, in my opinion. And Batshuayi is to me like Higuain, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I don't get it. I mean, I think it has to be Morata. I'm not saying you're too harsh. I think he will come better than he is right now. The only issue is that he had back pain again. And I'm like, sort your back out, mate. And don't play again with back pain because it doesn't help anyone. But I still like the fact that he turned down more lucrative offers than what he's getting to Chelsea from both Spain and Italy, according to him in the interview there with the Mirror, I think. So in that sense, fair play, fighting to prove his worth and giving back to what we've given him. I think that's something to commend him for. Hopefully, he also does as well as we are all hoping him to do. But I think it has to be him. Like Giroud got half an hour. Batshuayi didn't get any minutes. I wouldn't start him at Abraham, so it's just gotta be Morata that starts on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I mean, no, you're right. With the words that he said, it's very good that he's come out with those words, and I'm happy he has. And I appreciate that. I'm glad he's fighting and he's willing to actually try and to sort his head out because clearly it's mental.
Yeah.
But there does come that line where you need to turn words into action, and if that's not going to happen, then you might as well throw the words in the bin. But
he needs to kind of like have a sports psychiatrist that lives with him or something.
No, honestly, he does. Yeah, he does, and maybe a girlfriend that will toughen him up a bit.
maybe crying babies will help him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I hope that he comes through, and I hope that he does start banging in the goals and he gets that confidence back up because we know he can be a top striker on his day, but I don't know. I just don't know. The thing with him is like it feels worse than Torres. It's like the moment he misses, that's it. That's the end of his game. He's wrecked.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad. As a striker, you can't have that mindset. You need to have some sort of belief in yourself because if you don't, you're not scoring. It's as simple as that. You're not scoring.
Yeah.
And Lewis, if it bounces off you.
Yeah. Lewis, any changes to the lineup we'd go for?
Honestly, obviously I'd want Emerson over Alonso.
Yeah.
But I'd also rather see Christensen or Ampadu over Luis. I know Ampadu probably isn't going to start, but I'd rather see Christensen. I think Luis and Rudiger are too similar in the fact that they both like to drive forward with the ball. I'd rather have one that's a bit more composed, a bit more willing to sit deep. I think Christensen would provide someone with that option.
Yeah.
More than Rudiger and Luis. Like, I remember you got
but let's be honest, it will be Rudiger and Luis. Like, Christensen has been back the exact same amount of time as Rudiger has, but it was Rudiger and Luis in the Community Shield, so I'm pretty sure it will be them two again on Saturday.
Well, let's hope they impress more than they did on Sunday. I mean, I know it was Arsenal, but it did look very worrying the way that defense was set up.
No, it was City. Arsenal aren't boring. But no, but I still, like I've said in my review of that game and ever since as well, I think rather than them looking bad, it was the system not being implemented fully yet. I think that's why they looked bad. That's why Luis looked bad.
I agree.
The first goal City scored, Jorginho at the midfield moved up. The defense didn't. And all of a sudden there was this huge gap where Phil Foden ran into and then just squared it to
Aguero.
Exactly. And also that Conte wasn't there. I think the fact that Conte will be there and, the longer this goes on, a month and two, like obviously Alex said as well, the defense will look better even if it's the same people. Because I think it's not, we don't defend as individuals. We defend as a team and as unity, if you will.
Yeah.
And if the system doesn't work, you can have Sergio Ramos and Chiellini in there and it still won't work yet.
Yeah.
Except against Salah because it just injured him. And, you spoke about Fulham. Fulham have officially signed Sevilla goalkeeper Sergio Rico.
Oh my!
Wow, Fulham are signing a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah. Fulham are renting out a whole Fulham Broadway these days because they have so much money.
I don't like this.
No, I like this. It's good. I know they're close rivals, but they're like the cute neighbour.
Yeah, they're not a threat.
I see them as like your little brother. You're like, yeah, we don't really mind them. Obviously, a couple times they'll try to chat shit to me.
But like, if they beat Spurs or Arsenal or West Ham, that'd be good.
I'd be happy for them, yeah.
Exactly. Or like maybe get a draw against City or, beat United and Liverpool and stuff. Great Fulham.
That's the thing where I agree with you. We treat them a lot differently than we treat QPR and Brentford.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
so
do.
It's like they're like the kind of like, you're all right. I mean, do your thing. Just don't beat us and you're good. Basically. Yeah. Lewis, have you got any questions for the last 10, 15 minutes we're gonna do?
I didn't see any on the. I left a thread out on the 100% Chelsea Twitter, but I didn't see anything. I put one on the YouTube chat, but I still haven't seen much. Just have a quick look again.
Okay. Yeah. Let's ask you guys again. Do you have any questions for us that you want us to answer in the last few minutes? And don't spam the comments, please, because we need to read them. It's not that easy, trust us, because there is still like 900 something people in there, I think. Yeah, exactly 900 right now. And fair play. I mean, we've been going for pretty much 2 hours and there's still over 900 people. So thank you guys very much.
There's a lot of people asking about Fekir. That's the thing.
Well,
the thing is that there hasn't been any real news on it.
Deadline day has passed. There's no, concrete news. We're not getting Fekir. Let's just deal with it. But I still stick by what I said about him in the first place. I don't really see why he's a very good player, but in that position where he's really good, we don't have that position. So it's like, is that worth spending 70, 80 million euros, pounds on, which Lyon apparently were asking? I don't think so. Because we needed a goalkeeper desperately, so it's okay to spend big money on it. But on a player whose position that he's best in, we don't even have, I don't think that's necessary. Not like I would have been unhappy if we got him, but I'm not going to start crying tonight because we haven't signed him.
Yeah, no, definitely. As we said, it's been a decent window. It's been a lot better than we had initially thought after we just signed Jorginho, and we thought that was the end of it. So we should look at it from that point of view. Out of 10, possibly 7 or an 8, easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we should be grateful for the fact that we've actually got 2 more players in, a goalkeeper and Kovacic, and maybe we keep Batshuayi as well. Yeah,
I think that's one thing. If Batshuayi stays, once that is confirmed, obviously we'll only know for sure after August 31st. In theory, that's also an annoying thing because, in theory, with the comments that Courtois made and stuff. I'm not worried that Hazard will leave, but it's just always going to be a thing until August 31st. And that's just annoying about the transfer window being open elsewhere, but not with us. Yeah. But overall, I'd rate it, say a 7. Otherwise, I probably would have given it a 7.5 if Kovacic had an option to buy. Yeah. Because it is a bit off-putting for me, even though I can see the arguments why it's not that big of a deal. Still would have preferred if he did.
People are asking for predictions
for the season.
Yeah, I'm guessing for the season overall.
Do you want to do top 6 and relegation? Because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Well,
what should we start with?
Start
with relegation first.
I'd say Cardiff for 1.
Yeah.
Huddersfield as well. Should we say that?
Yeah.
You reckon?
I reckon, yeah.
I think so. If you look at the promoted clubs have come through very strongly, and that's not going to help the clubs that are already still here.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with Fulham and Wolves signing so big, and Huddersfield not signing that big, to my knowledge.
I don't know. I've got a feeling Wolves might drop down.
Relegation?
Ooh.
Relegation?
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to be higher than Arsenal.
No, they've signed well. But sometimes, I don't know, I'm basing it on their track record as well. I mean, yes, their signings might actually do them a favour, but based on the fact that every time they get promoted, they're always near that zone, it'll be different this time if they actually pulled it off. I don't know.
I feel like with the signings they made, but I thought similar things with West Ham last year. I feel like Wolves could probably fight for top half.
Yeah.
Like they should be. But yeah, I mean, Huddersfield and Cardiff, and then the next one's tricky because...
Well, what about Southampton? The fact that they just about survived last year, and they haven't really added much.
Yeah. But I feel like their squad was too good
position
to be in that position.
Manager.
Yeah.
I'm agree now.
Yeah, they were.
But now they have Mark Hughes. Is that going to be that much better?
No.
Take that back.
So Southampton, maybe, you never know. Like Bournemouth have done so well over the last few years. Could it stop? Watford, similar. The third relegation spot is tricky, in my opinion. It's really tricky.
Man United.
Yeah. Man United will be in the relegation zone by Christmas, and then we're in Europe.
Let's flush them out the league.
They will be 1 point worse than we were 3 years ago.
Yeah. They'll be in 11th, not 10th.
No, not at the end. At Christmas, we were 17th. They'll be 18th.
Oh, we were. Yeah, they'll be 18th. That's true. Yeah.
1 point less at least. What about Brighton?
I hope they don't. That's a good away day.
I hope
Brighton,
they don't. But could they?
I think they're strong enough. They got a good manager.
Yeah.
I think they're strong enough. Yeah, I don't see them going down. No.
Newcastle, depending on what happens with Benitez and the owner, they haven't really signed anyone except Kennedy, have they?
You're right, but no, I don't see them going down either.
With Benitez, no, I don't think so.
With Benitez, no.
Yeah, I feel like if we're gonna go for
Watford, maybe.
Yeah, it's so tricky. I feel like let's just go for Huddersfield and Cardiff, and then we don't know the third one.
I'd put Southampton in there just provisionally, just because of Mark Hughes.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And how about top 6? I'll just run through it. How I think it will end up being. I'll go. Tricky. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, United.
Right, Chelsea to win the league. No, I'm kidding. Sixth, I reckon Man United.
There's no screen recorded that.
Quality. I'm going to be a meme. United to finish 6th. That's if they do well. I'm worried for them. Well, not really, but they could struggle. 5th, I reckon Tottenham. 4th,
I'm not sure if Arsenal will be that much quicker in adapting the new system than we were, but then it isn't so much different, and we have to change more drastically. That's why I put them ahead of us.
No, you know what? Arsenal 4th.
As always.
They're always 4th or 6th.
Yeah, one of them. No, we'll give them 4th this time. I don't know. I've just got this belief that after October, November, we're just going to spring into gear.
Yeah. I just feel like it depends on how far behind we'll be by then.
That's where my worry.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be all too far behind like Spurs, United, Arsenal. But behind Liverpool and City, we might be quite far.
You know what? I'm going to go Liverpool 3rd, Chelsea 2nd, City 1st.
Chelsea
Liverpool.
2nd.
Jesus. Yeah. Fair play. Right, Lewis, yourself.
That opinion might change within the hour.
I don't know, because I really don't know this season, because I think this season, in terms of not the title race, in terms of top 4, I think it's going to be more competitive than it ever has been when it comes to who's going to finish 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th.
Oh, yeah.
But like for top 2, I'm going to go City and Liverpool. Done with that. That's the easy part of it. When it comes to thinking 4th to 6th, that's where it really starts to get hard for me. I'm thinking, if I really had to choose, City 1st, Liverpool 2nd, 3rd place, probably, as much as I hate to say it, 3rd place would probably be Spurs. I think, they haven't signed anyone in the transfer window, but their team is good enough as it is. Let's be honest, their team is good enough. When it comes for
the
4th
fact that they held on to Alderweireld is a big thing for them.
That's sorted them out. Alderweireld to me is in terms of getting his tackles done correctly, pure tackling, I think he's the best in the league because his timing's impeccable.
Mm.
So for third place, I'll go Spurs. Fourth place, what do I do here? I hate to say it, but if for fourth place, I'd probably go United. I think the top four will stay the same way it is.
What? You have
think-
no
You
confidence.
reckon United will get
out. Get out.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me in general, but I think when it comes to us adapting top four, it's the same thing we said before. What position will we be in by the time we fully understand Sarri's system? We got to understand when it comes to strikers as well. We've got to make sure that Morata actually develops this season. If it's the same Morata as last season, then we're going to be in for a bit of trouble as well. On the striker front, when it comes to midfield front, we are looking pretty good. Defense, shaky in areas, but we could improve, and I'm glad that we got Kepa as well to improve in goal. But you've got to understand in terms of the quality of the teams around us. Now, I think the top four, as much as I hate to say it, in terms of the team, has more quality than us. If there's one team I think that could drop out instead of us, it would be United. But I just look at that team and I just think they have too much quality to drop out of the top
But
four.
they have Mourinho and everything going tits up.
I know, and it is Mourinho's third season and everything. That's why if there's one team that drops out to Laos going to fourth place,
I actually feel
United.
after this transfer window, we have a better starting 11 than Spurs and a better squad anyway, because we've always had a better squad than them. Their starting 11 was just better. I feel like our starting 11 is now better than Tottenham.
I'm really reserved on it. Spurs will have their slow start as usual, but when it comes to December to April, they're just going to run through the league. And that's usually
we'll run more. We'll run quicker because Callum's not Dobby play.
But that to me is just hoping. I'm trying to think purely unbiased, and I'm thinking, as much as I'd say it is a transitional season, we can't afford to finish out of the top four. I'm very worried that we will.
No.
Sorry, I'm gonna implement a dilly ding dilly dong.
All right.
Get French Football News, who are known on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Have put Jorginho's Instagram video out and has said that Lyon fans are sweating over the fact that this individual who's shaking William's hand could actually be Fekir. A classic deadline day.
Now past 6 p.m.
I know, but they're saying this could be one of the 10 of those deals that haven't.
Sorry, I thought they had 1 hour. They have 2 hours. Well, that's fucked.
Yeah, just to keep things a little bit spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I hope nothing happens because I'm not free at 7.
For various reasons.
For various reasons. Good reason.
Very good reason.
Very good reason. But yeah, I mean, it's 6:03. Does anyone? I mean, shall we just quickly predict the Huddersfield game if you want?
I'm going 0-0. I've just got a 0-0 as an instinct right now. I think that it's going to take time to fully understand Sarri and his system and whatnot. And I think Huddersfield are going to play cautious. And for that reason, I just see 0-0 written all over it.
Lewis, yourself?
I think it will be... 2-0 Chelsea, but it won't be convincing. There'll still be a lot of question marks around the performance.
So then we'll be 3 points closer to the rest at the start of the season. So we won't finish outside the top 4 then.
I'll take that.
But it's 38 games in a season.
Yeah, no, of course. I can see a 1-0. I feel like might not, because their attacking hasn't been good enough for us to score a lot. We'll probably make one mistake at the back and concede. And I feel like a 1-0. But until I record my preview tomorrow, that might change. So, take it for what you will right now.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we've basically gone for pretty much 2 hours now. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. There's still basically 900 people there. We're going to finish it off here. I mean, I hope you enjoyed the transfer window to an extent, our coverage of it. I know it hasn't been as consistent as it was last year due to various reasons. We've all been very busy, to an extent. And it was, to be honest, it was a tiring season because the season before, no midweek games. This season was midweek games. It was very tiring, in honesty, especially for obviously Lewis and Louis that travel to every game. But even for myself, my reviews, until I go to bed midweek and get up at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. next day for uni anyway, it's 2 a.m. until I go to bed kind of thing. Obviously, 5 hours is okay, I suppose. But still, it's like, it's just kind of, you never really get a break. But yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed our coverage of it anyway. Obviously, there will still be one transfer, not transfer, but like one Chelsea weekly episode coming out a week in case, obviously, we do end up learning our players, selling players, that kind of thing. And obviously, if there's anything breaking, any major news, that we will obviously be a separate video about it. But yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed it. We're all looking forward to the Premier League season that's coming up. Obviously, thank you to Younes for coming on again, mate. Happy birthday. Do follow Younes on his social media, on his Instagram, on his Twitter. He will tell you what it is in a second. Subscribe to him on YouTube. Same goes for Louis. Again, I mean, not really thanking you for coming on because you're just part of it, aren't you? So follow him on Twitter and Instagram anyway. Subscribe to his personal channel, to which he's been uploading more recently again, which I should really start doing. But I've not done yet, so do that. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Do subscribe to my, not subscribe, follow me on my social media, Twitter, Instagram. I put my links in the description because I didn't have your links, so I'm cheeky. But my links to my social media is in the description. So you can follow me that. I'd massively appreciate that. But yeah, if you two just want to sign out or say goodbye or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure. I always love coming back on here. It's really, really cool. Thanks for the happy birthday wish. Appreciate it. And yeah, those of you who don't know me, follow me on Twitter, YounesHH, YouTube, YounesHH. Occasionally, we'll be on there with these lads as well. And yeah, looking forward to the new season. Bring it on. Bring it on.
Louis?
Yeah. Thanks for having us on. We'll see you Saturday. Subscribe to Carefree Louis G.
Exactly. Like what Louis said, we'll see you Saturday. I will obviously see you with the preview and obviously Sarri's comments in his first, pre-match press conference of the Premier League. I'll see you with that tomorrow. Basically, as soon as I can get it out in the afternoon, basically. And then obviously there will be match day content on Saturday, fan cams, match review, all sorts that will be out there. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you haven't already. And if you haven't already, what are you doing anyway? Leave a like if you did enjoy this video. Also don't forget to press the notification buttons for any future streams. You will be notified for any other videos that we upload. So you don't miss out on any of them, because YouTube is just a weird place, and they decided now let's not show people when there's the people they subscribe to upload, because let's just try to be weird like Instagram. But yeah, that's what they're doing. So if you could subscribe and do all of that, that'd be absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, and we'll see you next time.